star system in particular is pretty complex already with Tycho.
Yeah,
I'm not it's not like you can just multiply some value by 0.5 and fix this map. It's like everything together kind of gives it its star rating.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
it's like
so
out of the blue. It's like Tycho. Like who really cares about Tycho? But it's got to be fixed.
yeah, definitely make a post in the Tycho difficulty Tycho channel, and we'll work from there. We'll try and get someone on it.
What would you like want? Like just like map links or something, and say how much
Yep.
PP they give.
Yeah,
Okay.
just something simple, something
Okay.
to start the discussion.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and
That's
for those working on the survey or whatever, it should be public. Like post that as a Google Doc or something, a formula or something in the difficulty Tycho channel.
okay. That's pretty much all I got. Just wanted to be sure you guys knew about it and how Tycho community felt about it as well.
Yeah, it's a
Yep,
pretty.
cool.
We're quite aware of the people not happy with the morph changes. But,
I mean, to be honest, I'm just a player who plays Tycho and just goes with it. I mean, like, I'm happy with getting 300 PP like that, but I mean, people can get like rank 300 in like a year probably just with playing converts.
yeah,
That's obviously an
not
exaggeration, but
ideal.
you know.
Wait, is this all just converts?
There's some like actual Tycho maps like Mozakashi's that'll give 200s, but I've barely had any of those, so that's why I didn't say anything about that. It's mostly just converts that give a shit ton of PP for no reason.
Hmm.
Anyway, we'll continue discussion in a thread. We should move on.
Yep, that's all I got for you. Anyway, so
Yep, thanks for your question.
yep.
Okay, who else was in that list? No one here. Okay, let's start with Gavin. Gavin not responding. Winter.
Oh, this freaked me out. This is just one comment to add to the Tycho thing. The reason why Converse gives so much is because standard maps, the OD is super high compared to normal Tycho maps because Tycho maps OD is 5 until you get to like 6 stars. And also the note count also is increased for converts. That's just one thing I need to add. But for real questions, I have like a few.
Yeah, go on. I've added that to the notes.
So my main questions are, one of them is also about Tycho and OSU Laser for the editor. What are you guys going to do for the Tycho editor? Because if you were able to like rotate or move the playfield, it's just weird because you can do stuff with that, like Tycho Mania.
I'm confused. You said the Tycho editor.
Yeah, like in OSU Laser, you press the keybind, you can delete stuff and move stuff around.
Oh, the skin editor. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, the playfield, that bar.
Yeah, you can't rotate the playfield. You can't
Okay.
change the playfield. That's one thing. The only changes you can make to the playfield itself are via the scaling settings in the main game options. So, yeah, you won't be able to rotate that. I mean, it's not stopping people just flipping their monitors around, is it?
Also, for OSU Laser, for the interface, would you guys do like an old look version where it's like it looks like OSU Stable, but it has everything OSU Laser has?
Will we be doing a classic look for the editor, you said?
or just the interface, because I have quite a few of my friends say they don't like laser because it looks too new. They like the old Osu look.
Yep. Okay. So the answer to that is no. But
Dang.
stable isn't going anywhere, so they can keep using stable if they want the old version. That's what we did with the website, and people eventually moved over. So I think if we give it a few years, most people will get used to the new look eventually, as they see it in screenshots and videos, and people are very bad with change. But if you give them enough time,
To add to that, there's no reason why someone couldn't make a skin afterwards, especially
correct? Yeah.
after we have the
Yep.
layout system.
Yeah, so there will be some pieces which people, and even we have the Oz Classic skin. So, for instance, Song Select is going to get support for the skin editor pretty soon. That's like high on my priority, which means you'll be able to structure the layout, and you can probably make it look a bit more like stable. But I want to be quite certain that things like the checkboxes and sliders and stuff, I don't see them being skinnable in the near future, if ever. So some pieces of laser at the top level of UI aren't going to change. Yeah,
That makes sense.
but things like the back button, things people like to skin, we'll make sure that they're available for skinning still.
And then I have a couple questions about like the systems that you guys are gonna have. So Square Root 2 is like its max limit is 1 million score. Does that mean you would be able to use the score to calculate PP?
Smokey?
No, because
Okay.
PP is like a much more complex system than score, for better or worse. But I think that's for the best.
So if it isn't calculated based on score, uh, is there going to be a system that goes against submitting so if you have more score but your PP is worth less, it'll overwrite your score and you lose PP. Is there going to be like a system that makes it so you don't lose PP like that?
I don't think we've discussed that yet. So
We kind of, yeah, but we've the angle we've touched on is that Smoogie has mentioned that he wants to see like PP leaderboards be separate, and the way we're doing score storage this time around means that someone has a very loud clicking. It means that we can potentially like store all the scores and give people the option. There's various paths we'll take, and we're very aware of that scenario, and we'll make sure that it's not a case where a user is getting fucked over and having their good scores replaced. Whether that be the user choosing which score they want to keep, or we keep both of them in that case, because we can identify that case.
Okay. Do you have room for another question? Just one more.
Yeah, last one.
I don't know why there's this thing. There's a bonus PP. I feel like it gives way too much. So if someone is like they farm a lot, so their PP is like pretty accurate to their skill level just because they play maps all the time and stuff, and they try really hard, and then they get bonus PP from playing a lot of maps, and that kind of inflates their actual rank to not that
Yeah, I think this sort of
accurate.
question is best fit for a survey rather than something that we discuss here.
Okay.
Yeah, and just for the record, that the bonus PP is a very low amount. It's at the point where it shouldn't be factoring into anything really.
Yeah, apparently 420-ish PP.
Yep.
It's just enough. It's enough to give someone like a 20% boost in their rank.
Yeah, but it caps out at a very low play count. It's something like you only need to play 1,000 times and you've already maxed it out basically. The benefits you'll get from it are very low at that point, like 1 or 2 PP more if you get another 10,000 plays or something.
Okay.
Anyway, let's save that for a survey. We can ask
I guess a
like whether
survey
to
would
keep
be
it or
good.
whether to increase it or whatever.
Yeah, but just for the record, that bonus PP is there to give new players a sense of progression when they're not actually necessarily getting more PP from skill progression. It means that if they're playing, they're always getting a sense of increasing their PP. It's not meant to be something which factors into competitive gameplay. That's why it's so low in the first place.
Okay. Alrighty, that's all I had.
Cool, thanks.
All right, do we want to try Gavin again?
Yeah, let's try Gavin
Yeah,
again.
we're having problems. Yeah, bring him in.
Oh, there we go. I don't know what's happened earlier, but I do have one question. Let me go bring it up. It's just that will Mania PP be reworked anytime in the future?
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of work on that by some players.
Because one of the current farm maps that's in everybody's top play is Triumph and Regret. If you slap on DT with that, it's the easiest 500 in the world. It's so free. It's kind of broken to the point where anybody who's like rank 4K can do it.
Yep, that's one of my top plays as well. I know.
And just before I go, I'd like to say thank you, Peppy, for creating probably one of the biggest games of my life. I've really enjoyed it, the 4 years of playing it. And
Awesome.
that's it.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's not just me though. There's a team now, so you have to thank everyone, not just me.
Well, thank you all. I really appreciate your guys' work.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think there has been a bit of activity on the Mania side, but nothing to really say yet. Are we? They're working on a survey, right? That's the current direction.
I thought that Abraka was doing some work, but I am struggling to find it.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
he not thinking about the ranking criteria stuff, or is he doing that as well?
Oh, about ranking criteria. I forgot to ask. Are you guys going to be like making it easier at all? Because it's quite hard in my opinion to get a map to ranked at the moment. And there hasn't been many new ranked Mania maps and like 6 stars in a while.
Oh yeah, no, there's changes going in for that. We were talking about them the past couple of weeks, I think.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah, we know it's a big point of contention there, and there's some people in the Mania community moving to move that. So that should all change very soon, I hope.
Do you want to cover the progress we have made there? I think the hit sounds one is now in, and the difficulty spread is in PR state. Have you been following those?
No, I've not. I haven't really been
I was
following
I was
this at
talking
all.
to Ephraim a little
Oh,
bit.
sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
That's my bad.
Yeah, no, I haven't been following them either. It looks like the spread requirements are still in the discussion phase. It looks like.
Yeah. Well, there is a PR for it now, I think. I saw that pop up. So yeah, as from the last meeting or the meeting before, we were discussing relaxing the requirements for Mania to allow more of, I guess, what people coming from other VSRGs expect from maps, which is like a different expectation than the OS community. Our standards have been for the last 10 plus years, where we have difficulty spreads that require mappers to make easy difficulties and also have hit sounds. And there's good reasoning behind having both of those, but this far into this game's life, I think we basically agreed that we can relax those for Mania specifically. And
Okay.
that's what we've kind of been doing. And the hit sounds one is in already, and the difficulty spread is in discussion. So those should be good first steps at getting some more activity in the Mania ranking community.
All right.
And we also discussed like that the ranking criteria right now are way too hard to read to pass. They're like a huge essay. So that's a more of a longer term effort, but I think we are going to continue looking at trying to make that more approachable. like having a summarized version or something, some kind of better system of yeah.
And abridged ranking criteria. Oh my god. That's going to be fun. Yeah, it's sorely needed at this point. Okay, is that all the questions you got?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking questions.
Bye.
So yeah.
All right,
Let
we
me
have
ask a question for the community. Will Taiko never scale for 3 the same as stable? So there's a classic mod in Laser which we're trying to make match stable, but the default Laser gameplay is going to scale at 16:9.
Yeah, and that's basically how we're approaching everything in Laser is if there's something people want which isn't how Laser does it by default. I mean, we're doing everything from scratch. We're reconsidering every decision that was made in OS's development until now and undoing decisions which weren't necessarily good ones. And yeah, sure, we understand that the community is used to the way things have been, and therefore we are bringing them back using a classic mod or other mods to take their place. And I think that will be the case with the Taiko scaling. It's it's what people expect, but it's also probably not a good default for a game which wants to be approachable to people running on different screen resolutions. So yeah, we are changing the defaults, I think. But yeah. Does that sound
Works.
correct?
Yep.
Very good. All right, do we want to do some text questions? Because we got a couple.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, Nothy wants to ask about the development of storyboarding for Laser and if there's any plans of getting it to parity with stable, such as if it will have any integration with plugins like community-made storyboard generation tools for better keyframe handling, in-editor ability to use existing triggers, loops, etc.
So
She
is this talking about
mentions
the editor side specifically?
the storyboard, yeah, for Laser, the storyboard editor.
Yeah. Well,
She's
I like
listed a
scrolled.
whole bunch of limitations, so I imagine it's still very much a work in progress on that front, right?
So yeah, there's two things there. One is that and it's a very good question because that's one area of Laser which has kind of not been worked on at all since like 2018. What we need to do with storyboards is first of all we need to get the actual playback in a good state. Currently the performance is pretty abysmal, especially for storyboards that were made using external scripts where there's megabytes of data. So we need to fix the performance. We need to actually add trigger support there. I think there is some basic trigger support, but not everything is supported yet. And even like the pass fail layers, I don't think we have that properly implemented. So there's a lot of playback side stuff which we need to finish first. And that's going to also involve like potentially splitting out the way we pass storyboards into a legacy and an updated format like we've done with beatmaps. So it's a bit up in the air from that side. As for the editor side of things, obviously it isn't even present right now. A storyboard editor to me is like a project on its own. It's if it's going to be done correctly, it's basically a separate project. And as with other things in OS, there are external, as you just mentioned, there are external tools which already do this pretty well. And there's a stable editor for people that are used to that. So it hasn't been a high priority for us for those reasons. If/when it is done, it's going to be done much better than it was in stable. The other thing I'll say is that a lot of the editor components we're using for like the skin editor and the beatmap editor can be reused for the storyboards editor. So we are making, I guess, progress by working around it and fleshing out the other related editor features. But yeah, it's still not a high priority. I do think we'll get to storyboard playback in the near future and fix performance there because that's one of the remaining areas where performance of Laser is worse than stable. But yeah, as for editing and plugins and stuff, I don't think we're ready to answer that yet. It'll be next year.
Right, so it's a far off thing then.
Yeah. Does that sound
Yeah,
good, Smuggy?
that's
It's probably going to be the almost the last thing that we do
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
was
it's
thinking that,
just
yeah.
like because it is such it's its own project. If someone was to like be like, I am going to work on the storyboard editor, I'd be like, yeah, take it and work on it as like an isolated piece of well, isolated. It's still going to use a lot of the existing code we've done, but yeah, it's not really scheduled into the development cycle yet. So keep using your custom tools for now. When we do get to it, it'll be good, and we'll be adding like new features to the storyboard scripting and fix all the edge cases where you can't do scripting easily and you're relying on like externally flattening loops and stuff and creating megabytes of randomized data and shit. All that I think we can do a lot better. So maybe the first things you'll see in Laser are improvements to the actual scripting language itself, so the external tools can make use of that. But yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Guess we'll find out. We've still got a couple more.
Just for the record, we don't have any knowledge of what external tools need, right? So like it would be up to them to come to us to like say like we need this
Yeah.
improvement.
Yeah, we're not even yeah, I guess. See, a lot of those tools they allow like creating random patterns and stuff where that could be heavily optimized by us doing that at our end. But to a storyboarder, they're probably like the tool already does this, therefore I don't need that feature. So it would be good if any of the people that make storyboard tools are listening to like make a list of stuff you could see helping with the efficiency, like even just reducing the number of lines you're outputting to OSB files would be helpful.
Would it be worth having a channel in here for like? I don't think there's any particular place where all that's discussed presently, unless the forum is used for that.
Probably not just yet. Just make
Yeah,
a GitHub discussion on the OS repository.
right. Okay. Okay, we got a couple more. We're getting a bunch of written ones coming in. We've got one from Hexality. Will we have a mod or an option for always on during map metronome without muting the map like Muted does? Many people would probably like to be able to have a metronome linked to the map's BPM while playing without having the song's volume interfered with.
So this is talking about the metronome mod,
Yeah.
but having it without the song audio fading.
Yeah, I think that's what it says.
Yeah, we could probably add it as an option to the mod.
Okay, that's a pretty simple one. Next question is, will players have the ability to edit the entire UI the same way they can with gameplay? I think, have we answered this before?
Yeah.
Yes, eventually you'll be able to use the skin editor for screens like song select and change the layouts there.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
every
whole
screen we
thing.
can feasibly add it to. It'll be added, and that system has been designed to be super flexible. Like it can be added to song select in an hour. It's just a matter of like adding markers to the elements we want to allow to be moved around. And yeah. So song select, ranking, results screen, that kind of thing. Main menu, probably not. But who knows? Maybe you'll be able to add things on top of the menu, but not remove the existing things or something like that. Well, I'm not going to make any calls there yet. But the system is flexible to. We made the system so that could be done. So like, you'll be able to edit the pause screen and. The eventual what I have in mind is in that skin layout editor, you would just be able to like drag in arbitrary GIFs or PNGs, and they'll appear on the screen, and you can move them on the screen and animate them and stuff. So it should be pretty flexible, and it should be able to let you do the things that people do in stable, using skins that weren't necessarily supposed to be done, like using certain overlay elements to, shit something in the opposite corner of the screen. That should be able to be done without hacks in place. So that was the main goal there. So the short answer is yes.
Very good. Okay, there's one more, but it's related to Android/iOS. So is that anything you're taking at the moment, like in terms of questions?
Go on.
They're asking if there's any decision on multi-touch or side clicking for Android/iOS version of the game, because otherwise people have to use OTG or Bluetooth devices or single tapping to play maps, and it makes maps generally unplayable on top of the latency that those devices have.
Yeah, there's 50 or 60 issues/discussion threads with people asking that same question. And yeah, the answer is we will be adding on-screen controls. It's just a matter of when we get to it. Mobile is still a low priority until we finish the PC, all the stuff which is used by every platform. So once we get to a point, or once someone else, I think Frenzy was actually working on multi-touch at some point. He's busy with uni right now, but if someone beats us to it, that's fine. Otherwise, it's going to be a lower priority until we get everything else done.
Okay, do we want to take some more voice ones now? Just keep them spread out a bit.
Let's do it.
Let's bring the gambler on. Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
Long-time player, but relatively new to the OC community meetings. You mentioned earlier that scripting is very far away.
storyboard
In terms
scripting, this is?
no, scripting in general, because I was looking into a different aspect of scripting. Well, not scripting exactly, but there used to be a tool, third-party tool. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, called Stream Companion, where you could access live values of OSU. I was wondering if any of that will be also exposed natively in OSU Laser, and if I could take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, there's already actually a pull request with support for that via a WebSocket interface. So, and I've been looking at reviewing that, like it's on my short-term list. So you may see that in the next version or two. It's just going to
Okay.
be a WebSocket which you can connect to locally and get real-time information out of us, or the scoring, or anything you could possibly want can be exposed via that. So yeah, it's definitely it's a relatively high priority for us, because I know there is a need for that, and I'd rather it be done without a third-party program reading the game memory.
Okay. And as an extension to that question, I see this in other games as well, where there's something called chaos mode, where Twitch viewers like get to mess around with the in-game settings in real time. I was wondering if that can also be done for OSU as well, and if it is, how much of a priority is it?
So you're asking for a way to allow Twitch stream viewers
Well, like an API,
to
right?
interact
Like,
with okay.
yeah, so
So
like,
yeah, so it's the same thing, but write support, I guess. You want them to be able to change mod settings and stuff like that.
yes, like turn on hard rock in the middle of a song or change tablet area in the middle of a song, just for interaction and enjoyment of, say, viewers, like,
That'd be
participating in your stream.
brutal.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. Definitely can be done. Like every setting we have in the game is designed to be adjusted in real time. So that could be an interesting idea of maybe even a mod which you can turn on and get that working.
All right. I think
Allow any
that's.
spectator in the game to adjust the settings. I think
Oh,
if we
man.
did it, it wouldn't be a Twitch integration, and it probably wouldn't be exposed via like WebSocket API. But I think we could do that in game using the spectator system potentially.
Okay, that's a far more integrated approach. Okay, I see.
The thing with Twitch is that it has um the gambling points, I think.
Yeah, okay. So maybe we do want some kind of API to interact with that.
Yeah,
I guess as long as
but
it's a toggle on, we could have a write API for like mods and stuff.
yeah.
And yeah, I
Nice.
think that's it. That's really it for me. Thanks for listening to me, and thank you for creating a beautiful game. I've been playing it for 8 years, and you guys have been with me through basically all my
You're
adult
welcome.
life.
Are you enjoying the progress of Laser? Have you been following that?
Well, 2 years ago, well, I haven't been up to date with the GitHub, but I do remember logging on 2 years ago, and I was one of the braver ones who was playing it on Linux at the time, and 100 milliseconds of lag, unplayable. And then
Yeah.
I go to it today. I was just playing multiplayer today on Linux, and it's as good as it is on Windows native. So lots of good
That's good to hear.
progress.
Good to hear. I was
Good
worried for a second
progress.
then. I played Laser once and it ran like shit. I never touched it again.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's great to see give it another shot and be with us for 8 years. You said
yeah, 8 years. I actually started with Osu Stream. That was the gateway
Oh
wow,
drug.
my god.
awesome. Yeah,
Uh,
Stream had a very large player base. Like people don't understand how much exposure the App Store gets. Like it had at the time it was like 5 million downloads or something compared to us, which didn't even have anywhere near that at that point in time. Obviously, that's changed a bit over the years, but yeah.
and and part of me, when Score V2 came out, I was thinking, is this is Osu Stream scoring, isn't it? Maybe slightly
Yeah.
modified.
And
Was that?
I'm still using our stream scoring as a model for Laser for our score V3 or whatever you want to call it.
I knew it. I knew it. Anyway, thank you for
That's
having
not
me.
even yeah, the stream scoring isn't my idea. I just stole that from what I liked from other games, so it's not like I made it or anything. Just put things together. Just before you go, I will say if you can make a discussion thread on GitHub regarding your chaos mode idea, just so we have it documented somewhere.
Okay, I'll get
Just like
started on that.
outline the other games which have it or whatever, and give an example of how you would see it being used.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for your question.
Good stuff. Okay, we have two people waiting. One is away. Maybe we'll do the person who's not away. We'll get Nyako in.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Yep.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so my name is Nyarko. I'm mostly an OS mapper, and this is mostly a miscellaneous question, but I've always wanted to ask, like, since computers are lately like a quite unreliable beast of its own, where it sometimes decides to stop working, the hard drive or solid state drive just ceases to function, and suddenly all of your maps that you're working on just go poof completely. So I wanted to ask if there would ever be like a feature where you could like export a bunch of maps in like at once by using tags like mapper tags, whether it's a mapper name or like an anime name or something like that, to like make mapper archives for like different mappers, so that it's easily accessible for other people, or to be backed up on like cloud drives mostly.
So you're talking about a feature in the OS client?
Yes, mostly, or it can be like an external like application to export multiple maps in a single batch file.
Like something that
I,
builds beatmap packs, basically.
Yeah,
But just for the purpose
since
of
yeah.
archiving.
Mm. The
yeah.
thing is that since you can't exactly like export all of your maps easily, I tried doing that a few times with like the file explorer, but there's really no way to do that other than exporting every single map one by one. And since I have like 800 like
So
beat map
you're talking
projects.
specifically for laser here, where that
Uh,
isn't
uh,
because the songs folder isn't there? Because in stable you can just like pick out from the songs folder, I guess.
I guess so, but for example, when I search my mapper name in File Explorer, it only shows
Right.
the .os
Yeah.
files instead of
Yeah,
like,
okay.
yeah, the full folders.
So based on a query, you want to be able to export maps. Yeah, I think that's something we can definitely do. Like just searching at song select and then hitting export or hitting export on a collection in the game and having
I
it
think,
create it.
yeah, I think it would be really useful for like making artist packs,
Yeah.
like Camellia song packs or like maps made from different mappers for that can be then shared with other people or backed up on
Yep.
a cloud drive.
Yeah, and another thing I'd mention is that the OSP. Do we use the OSP file extension for bitmap packs? Is that even the thing we do? I know that those bitmap packs come, the ones we host on MediaFire or whatever. They are a real weird pain to extract to actually get into the game and stuff. So
Mm,
I think we probably want to make a new file extension or use OSP, or if that even exists, I don't remember,
I
and
don't think it
allow
does.
these kinds of exports and imports into the
ah,
into the game. So yeah, again with this kind of thing, if you have a GitHub account, it would be really good if you could post that as a discussion, just so we have it. GitHub discussions is what we're currently using for like feature requests and stuff. So if you put it there, other people can upvote it or comment on it and stuff. That would
yeah,
probably be
yeah.
a good starting point.
I personally don't know how to use GitHub all that much, but I guess I can try.
It's
Yeah.
not too
Yeah, well,
bad.
the other thing you can do is just make a forum post. Can you actually post in feature requests right now, or did we block that?
Oh, I guess I can. Sure.
Yeah,
No.
it's just having these ideas or requests written somewhere is half the battle, I think, because we have so many people wanting so many things
Yeah, yeah,
that
for
it's
sure.
hard to implement everything. But there's
Yeah.
two things. One, now that we're an open source project, other people can potentially help make things happen if they also want the same feature as you. And the second thing
Mm,
is, because the GitHub discussion system has upvoting, we can actually see which features are most important to people
yes.
and prioritize those.
The feature isn't exactly in a rush, but my PC does get older, like with time, so it's
Yeah.
getting increasingly more unreliable. You never know when it just dies.
You might want to. This is like nothing, not related, but you may want to look at backing up your data, like
Yeah,
your non-OS data, the
yeah,
stuff that
most
matters
likely.
even more
Yeah.
than your
Hmm.
bitmaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much that I wanted to say.
Cool.
I just wanted to thank you for like all of your great work that you have been contributing to the game and the OS community and in general. Like the entire dev team is amazing.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for your.
Oh, stop it! You're gonna make me
thank you very
blush.
much. Okay, see ya.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of written questions, and I think we can chunk out a few of these pretty quick. So we'll pivot to these for a moment.
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, will it be possible to have more freedom in skinning Tycho? Asks Cookie Tree, because previous iterations of Stable enabled sprites to be stretched across the screen, and this was changed to prevent exploits. But there are a lot of elements which are harmless that were changed because of this too. Is it possible to change these more harmless elements to get the freedom in skinning for Tycho back? I think this is
Yeah. Tiger's. It's such a weird one.
it's the Tycho
Like,
mania thing.
honestly, like my personal opinion on all this is that we should just fucking allow everything. It's like at the point where, yeah, and it's a hard one. Like even that opinion is probably incorrect because Taiko is a game which relies a lot on visual impairment. The readability concept is like what makes Taiko hard, right? You have to actually be focused on the color in a single lane. That's the only thing which like differentiates Taiko from Mania. So that's why people are like very very focused on not allowing skins to make Taiko play like other games because it does give an advantage from the readability perspective. But the amount of things we had to do to stop people from hacking around, making Taiko, separate out the colors and shit, it's stupid. And I hope that we don't need to do the same thing in laser. Like maybe for like tournament play or something, we can limit it. We can have a special mode where it forces players to use the default skin or something. That's the kind of direction I see things going there. I would like so to answer the question, I would like to bring back the full skinning for Taiko because I feel like we've hugely regressed the ability to skin that game mode for the sake of a few players.
Yeah, and we've also discussed having like tournament specific skins, or like skins allowed for tournaments that people can submit, not just the default skin. So
Yeah, and like the direction I would like to see things go with laser and with skinning is that when you make a play, your skin is uploaded, and it will, when people watch your play, they'll see how you played it.
Oh
That's the
my
eventual
god.
plan.
That's gonna cause that'll be interesting. A lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh shit!"
Why?
Probably something like half naked Genshin Impact,
Oh well,
Archon
no,
combo
not
bursts,
those.
things like that.
Just the like the hit circle elements, not the full fucking interface. No, just the stuff which would actually potentially affect gameplay.
Yeah,
Because
some
of the
people still have those very questionably skinned sometimes.
yeah, well, you can toggle it off if you don't want to see that.
Oh my god.
oh no, my private skins.
Yeah, private skin. That's what I thought you were gonna say. People
Oh, that
that have
too.
these
But
private skins or whatever. But no.
All right, can I ask a question about PP? So we need to get the new PP deploy happening soon, SR and PP. There's one more PR remaining for the OS side stuff that I've just now finished collecting data on, and I'll be posting data for that, and hopefully getting a merge like today or tomorrow. There's the OS catch PR, which is still a work in progress.
Sorry, let me just stop you for that. What was the first one you mentioned there, just so I can write it down?
The PR itself, or
Yeah, which rule set was it?
for the OS rule set. So
Oh,
there's one more PR.
that's the one which was merged, or the second one?
There's one more PR that's in progress that is probably going to be merged, and it's the approximating the amount of misses based on combo for things like slider breaks. Yeah, and then there's the OS catch PR that's still in progress. Should we aim for like maybe the end of this week? Do you think?
Yeah, and the other one was the big one is the Zexar's run, right? The rhythmic component.
I think that's merged.
Yeah, it's merged, but it's going to be part of the deploy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a list in the OS
Maybe
in the
just
difficulty OS channel.
oh yeah. While we're here, just quickly touch on what that involves, what it's doing, because I think a lot of people listening here won't be following too closely.
There's a lot of changes. I'm not going to go through it in this discussion, but there's a pinned thing in the difficulty OS channel where you can see all the PRs and my basic descriptions of them. But yeah, what I wanted to bring up is I think maybe the end of this week is probably a good time frame for us, and whether the catch PR is finished or not, whether this miss combo thing is finished or not, we should just get it in. Like maybe Friday or next Saturday.
Okay, so aiming for end of this week for next large updates.
Sounds good.
Oh,
Okay, shall we handle these last few written questions, because one of them.
yep.
Alright. Stanar is asking, will there be more recognition for people actively contributing to the game or community, like the regular laser contributors, for example, who sometimes get their contributor badges? He says that he knows there's a community contributor badge, but it seems like they've only been awarded to mappers for the most part, and he hasn't heard if there's any new badges at all. So this would
Who's
be
asking
community.
this?
Stan R.
Okay. He's involved with the difficulty stuff, right?
He is, yes. I've also had this question asked to me before by a couple of other contributors. I
Yeah.
think Axis brought it up to me, actually, that he was suggesting that we might want to consider tiering the community contributor badges and awarding them repeatedly for people that continue to help out. Like, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So just to touch on two things there, we have been awarding them to developers, not just mappers.
Yeah, it's not just mappers. It's like a huge group of people that gets them. It's not just mappers, yeah.
And maybe the reason why it seems like we haven't been giving them out is because it only happens once a year right now, right?
Yeah, only once a year.
Yeah, so maybe we need to up that to like twice a year or something. I don't know.
Twice, yeah. I think so too. If it depends on whether we have people to give them to, though. Sometimes we don't.
Yeah, and maybe like, do you think it's worth opening like a community submissions, like
Yeah, I think
nominating
so.
people for it?
I think we should
Because
do that.
we may be missing people that should have it.
I think we are. Yeah, we have in the past, because we're not a very big team, and it's a very big game nowadays. I think we can definitely do more on that front.
And specifically for like laser development and stuff, like I've already tried to expose people as much as possible that are working on, like it comes up in the change logs whenever you get a PR merged, your attribution is always there. I do think we can probably have like a credit screen in the game showing the top contributors eventually, something like that, because I would like to give people as much exposure as we can that based on how much they've contributed. So it is, yeah, definitely something we can improve going forward.
Cool. I guess that answers that. Hold on a second. All right. Okay. We'll go with this one first. Ayane asks, is it possible to keep a snapshot of a specific history of a beat map if my current history is not what I want? So I think what they're asking for is versioning for beat maps, which I think we've also been asking for. Like, I think the mapping community has been asking for that for like forever.
This is for uploaded maps, right?
Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what we all want as well. It's just a matter of finding the development time to implement it.
So it's definitely on the cards then.
So the current plans are for beatmaps to be stored as essentially Git repositories. That helps with like undo and redo in the client side, but also we could probably upload that to the server, just host the Git repo for the beatmap, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to leave our options open for that. Like, because we're switching to Realm as a database thing, we can, like, Realm has this client server automatic sync stuff where you can just basically have a user provide credentials and everything on their client will be synced to the server automatically. So we could potentially store the Git versioning inside that, or, just use like raw Git operations to just host our own Git server and have everyone push to that. But yeah. Yeah, I would like to see a lot closer integration with the editor and the server side things, so we do have like cloud saves in quotations.
Neat. Okay, there's just
The,
one
the
more
first
text
step, the first step would probably be like just every time a user uploads a beatmap, we store the version history for it, right? And I don't think that's too hard to do. But it's also not something I'm willing to do without first rewriting the server side portion of beatmap submission, because I tried to work on the old code for adding the what was it? guest mapping stuff in to allow guest mappers to actually update their difficulties directly from the client. And there's a few issues. There's a lot of systems involved there which are talking to each other, and I'd rather just do it from scratch rather than potentially break shit along the way. So yeah, adding just very simple version like download previous version is probably something which will be implemented from the start with the new system when we get to that. ETA would probably be start of next year for that. I don't think we're going to be looking at beatmap submission until all the scoring stuff is done with Laser first.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Should we keep going with the written ones? We've got 2 more since then, and there's 1 more waiting.
There's one easy one in the written ones. Will there be an option for profiles, things like groups of skins, behaviors, etc., that can be grouped and chosen together and switch quickly? We have this planned for, what is it, the skins, I think? So like skins per rule set? Per rule set skin?
Yeah, and also, no, I definitely think we have game-wide profiles as well, which are gonna not just for skins, but for all settings game-wide, including like input settings and stuff, because I think that's something which people will want. Like, just imagine having like a quick toggle at the top of the settings panel where you can select profile 1, 2, 3, 4 or something.
And different bindings, etc.
Yeah. But yeah, as Smoogie said, we're also going to be allowing a lot more levels which you can specify what kind of skinning things you want. So you will be able to specify skins per rule set, because I think that's the most common one that people want, is like switching skins out when they play a different game rule set game mode. Do we want to take some more voice ones, because there's a lot of people with their hands up?
Yeah, we're pretty backlogged.
Yeah.
There we are.
We'll go
Instigator's
another
been in there for a
10
while.
minutes. So let's try and speedrun some.
Get in here, Instigator. It's your time to shine.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
All right, so I had a few questions. So first off, with the release of Laser, eventually, are you gonna? Is there gonna be like promotion of like the major update, considering how big it's gonna be for the community? Like, is it gonna have like outreach and like, do you want it to have like a exponential growth in the OSU community from being kind of smaller to like very big in the mainstream?
No.
You want to keep it like small,
Yeah,
or like
makes
just
Well,
how it is right now?
yeah, it's more just the way I want to run things, I guess. We've never done outreach advertising or any kind of advertising really. It's more about um just letting the community expand as it does. So yeah, we won't be doing any kind of extra apart from just like, mentioning cool shit on Twitter. That's about the extent to which we're going to be doing things.
Alright,
Maybe what you will see is you'll see a bigger audience coming in once we push to mobile platforms, for sure, because that just gets more outreach by automatically having it listed on the Google Play Store and iOS App Store. It's probably going to
alright.
grow the community whether we want it or not. So something to consider.
Alright, I had two more questions. So with the amount of like user created mods in Laser, how will the dev team be deciding which mods get official support in the game?
So basically, if you make a pull request with a mod and it's cool, then it'll get merged.
Alright.
We don't really have a criteria for it yet. It's more
Yeah.
like if it's cool and if it doesn't overlap too much with existing mods, we want to try and keep mods as being like, rather than having every possible mod be there or every possible setting. I see mods more as like a preset game setting, like, a group of settings which changes gameplay and also um like when you turn it on, it's immediately fun. So it's not going to be like turn on this mod, then you have to adjust. Like the only exception is difficulty adjust, where it doesn't do anything by default, and you need to like change the settings there. But yeah, I do see mods as like hopefully doing enough to the game that it gives you a new way to play it. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making
Yeah,
any sense here.
that makes sense.
It's like whenever someone PRs a new mod, I always do the test of like playing it and seeing if it changes the game enough to be added as a mod, and if it doesn't, maybe changing the defaults for it or adding some extra dimensions to it. One example was, I think, metronome, which started as just like a metronome, but I made it so it fades out the. Maybe it wasn't me that did that, but just an example, yeah. So we wouldn't have just a metronome mod, but we would have a metronome mode where the music or the metronome fades out as you get a higher combo, something like that.
And last really quick one. With the custom DT and halftime speeds that have been like implemented in Laser, how will PP be like balanced around like those? Because I can imagine some maps might be really broken that you can just put like incredibly fast and get a ton of PP out of.
We'll have to see. There's been work on like considering these other rates into SR. I don't know how PP is going to play into everything yet, but hopefully just adjusting star rating will fix it all. But we'll have to see. It's too early to say.
Can you restate
Alright.
what that question was? I missed that.
The question was, with the custom DT and halftime speeds that have been implemented into OC Laser, how will PP be balanced so that some maps aren't completely broken?
Right.
Alright, that was all I had. I'm really enjoying Laser so far. I really like how it looks. So yeah, keep up the good work, I guess.
Thank you.
So much gratitude today. Incredible.
Yeah, it's really
How
really humbling.
unexpected.
Yeah.
We'll bring Zexar and come in here.
It's like someone started the ball rolling and now everyone is like getting in on.
All right. Hopefully my microphone's on the right one. Can you hear me?
It is.
Hey,
We
yeah.
can.
All right. Perfect. Hopefully it's not my laptop. But so I had a couple
Zexar.
questions.
Thanks for all your work on the great PP system. Like, really appreciate it.
Well, I guess I want to segue off of the question that was just asked, because with that multiple rate, mod, the first thing I'm wondering about is just, how do you plan to even store, that kind of thing? Because with, DT or whatever, you store a separate star rating, for that mod. So if you have a whole, range of values, is that going to be something that's going to be an issue? Because it's not like you can just multiply star rating by, 2 when the song's twice as fast.
Yeah, so that is something which we've been like actively trying to figure out. Smoogie has made a component which does this dynamically. Like it's just a microservice which you can request a certain mod criteria and you'll get back the star rating for it. So that's kind of like the direction we're currently looking at. Whether that will scale to having like thousands of scores coming in with slightly different decimal values of DT. I don't know if that's going to work. My thinking is that we may limit the precision on these DT adjustments to be like by 0.1 or something, so we can actually cache these values more easily.
Right, yeah.
I don't
That's
think
kind of
people
what I
need the
figured.
level of precision. Yeah. I don't
Okay,
think people
I
need
kind of
the
figured
adjustment
that.
of like 0.1% increments. But yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised what people would be trying to squeeze out of their however much Clover
Yeah,
plays.
and well, maybe if we do need to account for that, we can like round up to the closest available value.
Yeah, I mean that or like a round down. Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So
Either
my
or.
second question, and the primary reason why I wanted to even get on here, was regarding scoring and performance points. So right now it's sort of like there's two systems going on in parallel, and sort of my question is, do you guys ever see, if there was an opportunity to try to combine score and performance points into some sort of holistic system, do you see that as something that would be a benefit to the game, or would that be something that you would want to avoid, since there's sort of a legacy of score being something that never goes down, whereas PP, if you miss, that's something that go down. What are your thoughts on that?
Swiggy, do you wanna?
I think you have more thoughts on this than I do. I think that score should be as simple as possible, and that PP is the complicated system which tries to assess your actual performance or how much skill this score took.
I guess the reason why I asked that question is because score, is a piece of, it's a way to aggregate, what you played. But performance points is the same way. It's just a different way of, trying to relay that number. You could do something where, a score, for example, if there's a difficulty value associated with a single note, you could multiply the score awarded for that note by, the performance point rating or the weighting of that note. So it's just stuff like that that I've been kind of thinking about and kind of tossing ideas with Tom as to, whether or not that would even be something that you guys would be in the first place. So that's kind of
So
why I was asking.
just to make sure I'm on the same page, you're asking whether score should be affected by PV?
I'm asking whether or not a system like that would be something that you guys would consider implementing in the first place.
Yeah, right. So I think I'm on the same page as Smoogie there, where like we want to keep score as a very simple thing, like not factoring that in, specifically not factoring that in. And instead like making PP have more of a presence, like as we've already added the real-time PP counter to laser, actually giving people those two different metrics they can work by. So for people that don't really care about the intrinsic difficulty of the map, they can just use the raw score and actually be able to mentally compute how they got that score, whereas PP is more of like a black box to the user. It is a better rating of difficulty and better able to compare plays across different beat maps, different different beat maps, different mod combinations, that kind of thing. But score is more of a thing which is only going to be used to compare plays on the same beat map, same mod combinations, just as a very easy.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense from a leaderboard standpoint. With just the map in and of itself, you can create a system that sort of captures that. I just, it was just something that was on my mind. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to answer that.
My main concern there is just to make it easy for the user, not even from a leaderboard perspective, but just like for the average user playing the game, someone coming into the game from either from a history of playing other rhythm games or just fresh into it, being able to understand how the score is constructed. And that's kind of why in Laser we've simplified that as much as possible. Like there's none of this time in point in time combo multiplier calculations and all that's gone. So now it's just like, and the goal is on the result screen to actually show the breakdown of how the score is made up. So from that angle, I don't think we would factor in PP.
All right, so just one last thing before I hop off. So I have a change that's out there right now in, it's ready to be reviewed, but I know that you guys have mentioned that you want to go ahead and go live with the latest changes that are up to date right now on Master. So provided that does happen, what's the time frame on a future update to, get another change after that? So I guess what I'm asking is, you guys are planning to go live. I think the date was Friday with, the changes up to this point, but there are still pending changes that are just, waiting on review. So for changes that it would be waiting on review, what would be the time frame that would be associated with the next, the next big update?
The reviews are required first, so those have to happen first. But then after that, the minimum for me is 2 weeks. I think that's it.
Okay, so that's it.
And I think it's more of a my thinking is that it's more of like community acceptance. So if we push out like huge changes, like the rhythmic aspect one, which is going out, we potentially need to give people enough time to understand that and get used to it before changing things again. We don't want to like overload people with change. So it's not an issue from a logistics perspective. I think the minimum for us would be 2 weeks, as Smoogie said, just to let everything catch up. with the
I
processes.
guess why I am asking is it just seems strange to me that it's instead of waiting for everything to be reviewed, it's kind of like the numbers would be fluctuating more by doing multiple deployments rather than doing just one, and people can get used to that one and wait like 3 months or something before something else comes out. Like I think
Yeah, well, it depends on how
fluctuation.
many ongoing changes there are. Like if the change you say is something which will, complement the other changes which are going out, maybe bring that up in the difficulty channel and we can potentially wait for it. Because
Right,
right
yeah. I
now,
mean,
like,
sorry, I was just gonna say. I mean, like right now, like I typically when I do my development, I try to balance things across all updates together to see how it works in aggregate. Because at the end of the day, it's one big broad brush that paints a single number, associated with any score. So when I do my work, it's kind of disappointing for me to see half of what I would call what I tried to get added be implemented without the other half also being in complement to it being released together. With the website that we have created, that hosts the values associated with all of the changes together. So it's just seems strange to me in that way. So
well, I haven't been following along, but have you brought that up in the difficulty us channel already?
I suppose I believe I have. I'm sure I did at least at some point, but maybe not to the full extent.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, currently we're just doing things like, on the fly. I don't think we have any real need to push things out by the end of the week, and potentially we can like wait
Well,
for the
apparently there
remaining
was
change.
a wide vote cast in some other PP
Right, yeah, the
Discord server.
performance Discord people did vote to just immediately go live, but I think granted that my change is only waiting on review, I find it just a little bit, like even if people vote, yeah, they want changes to go live, I think that can be motivated from, just I guess a sense of urgency or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, the current schedule is the end of the week, so potentially we can get reviews done by then. Maybe you can bug people to get their
Oh,
reviews in.
believe me, I have, and that
Okay.
probably is not going to work.
Right. Well, I mean, we can delay it another week if people need more time to review. I don't think we have to push things out the end of this week. I would just voice your concern, and
Yeah,
we
that
can
was
take
pretty
it from there.
tentative because people have been like pushing for it.
Asking when it's
this
actually
past
going to
week,
happen. Yeah.
pretty, yeah. But also, I kind of want to ease up on the PP changes towards the end of the year for several reasons. The biggest one being that we're migrating scores to a new table, and that's going to have a lot of complications associated with it. And that kind of circles back to what I think Zexal was kind of mentioning about storing the difficulty attributes. Rather than the microservice, we're probably going to be computing star difficulty inline for performance. Because yeah, that microservice is more like for stable right now. We're probably not going to get it to a point where it's going to be used for PP in the end. But that entire system is going to have its own complications. And that needs to happen by the end of the year. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, then in that mind, or in that, with that in mind, I think it's pretty reasonable to say maybe it's best to just try to do one deployment this year, rather than trying to squeeze in two, because history, has shown that it can have, a pretty long winded cycle before the next deployment comes out.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we should hold off on the changes till like end of month.
all right.
Hopefully we can get the remaining ones in by then. Because yeah, as Smoogie said, like there are reasons. There are reasons where, from an infrastructure perspective, we actually need to move scores to the new score storage that we're using for Laser earlier than maybe we hoped to. And that's going to take a bit of time out of my schedule as we approach the end of the year. But it also means we're going to need to figure all the existing systems out and need to be migrated to the new one. Let me say that again. All the existing systems which are reading from the old score storage need to be migrated to the new one, including like the performance calculation, the website. There's a lot of moving pieces, and yeah, we don't want to have ongoing PP changes during that that period, and I think that's going to start from like next month and probably go into January. So yeah, don't expect there to be any PP deployment during that period. So yeah, let's definitely try and get all the changes we want to see in for this next deploy and make that the final one for this year.
Yep. Well, my original plan was the start of November for the next changes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
All right.
Let's go with that.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to answer my questions, guys. I'm not gonna, brown nose you or anything, but yeah, take care. See ya.
Cheers. Thanks.
Sure thing.
No compliment. Do we have time? I don't think we have time for any more. We're like 20 minutes over time.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to stop and go back to sleep or something.
Yeah, me too.
Next appointment will be the
I'm
start
fucking
of
dying.
November. Like the last for this year. Yeah, these meetings are at like a really weird time for me. It's like, that's fine.
1 p.m. You monster.
Weekends are
Alright,
usually
so-
my sleep catch-up time. Yeah, we got through a lot of questions today. Damn, that's like double of last week, I think.
Yeah, it's probably
Feels
only
like it
going to get
anyway.
worse. The more
Okay,
we know,
so let's take down the people that are still in voice, because they will be first on the. Anyone who has their hand up to speak right now and didn't get a chance, make sure you're here for the start of the next meeting, because we'll give you priority on asking your questions.
We've got a bunch
We've
of
already-
written ones saved in the pin thread too, so we can address those.
Yeah, so we'll also start with all the written ones which didn't get answered today. Next meeting.
Yeah, I guess we can
But-
keep this thread active and refer back to it.
Yeah, well,
We'll
they don't
probably
get
close it
deleted
in the
so.
end.
It will archive, but they stay for a while, so.
Right. Yeah, but thanks to everyone for coming. Hopefully this is beneficial. We've got a few what I want to try and do with these meetings is like at the end get up a list of like immediately actionable points and make sure we like follow up on the things which we said we were going to, because that's one of the harder things to do is, we go through these questions where like, yeah, that'll definitely be done, or yeah, that's something we can do right now, but then we forget to actually action on it. So we probably need to like, I don't know, dedicate some time after the meeting to actually go through and make sure we have everything, all the moving pieces actually moving, and also at each meeting going through the things we said we were going to do in the last meeting and make sure there has actually been progress. It's very hard, and hopefully someone else out there is going to help with that, because I can't keep up. Like doing these meetings already is like using time I don't have, and actually keeping up with ongoing progress between the meetings. Maybe Ephemeral can look at that.
Yeah. That's
Like
doable.
just for the start of next meeting, having in the notes all the actionable points or anything which needs follow up from the last meeting as well.
Easily doable.
Yeah, cool. And I said I was going to do development updates at the end of this meeting, but we're kind of at the time limit, aren't we?
Nearly half an hour over time, yeah.
We pushed out a laser release a couple of days ago, which has some cool stuff in it. The editor slider velocity adjustments are finally in there, so any mappers which have been not testing laser until now, I suggest you go in and give that a try, because it'll give you an idea of the direction we're pushing for ease of use in terms of the editor. That's not the only thing in that release. I like it. It's a good release. There's new audio effects, there's new fail screen, UI updates, all the cool stuff. On the web front, score pinning is almost done, and a newer featured artist search page is almost done. I think that's waiting on some flight design refactoring. Yeah, that's about all I can say, really. So should we call it there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks to everyone for coming. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks all.